Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. Afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and to share their experience and knowledge with you. I hope you enjoy it. Right on, Michael. Thank you for joining.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You're doing well. The podcast will be focused on three questions. What do you do for a living? How'd you get there? How'd you know that this was the way to go? So, tell us what you do for a living.
I'm an architect. I design and organize the creation of public educational and cultural buildings. They're mostly schools and sports halls. I got here by a combination of random events, sheer luck, and a droplet of personal will. I wanted to do something creative, but not artsy, and technical, but not engineering. So architecture seemed like a good compromise at the time. Um, if I really knew where I was going, I didn't. I thought I knew, but as more and more time at university passed by, I started to doubt my decision. The university was structured in a way that was not motivational to the students, and also the profession seemed like it was not the thing that I imagined it to be. Um, it seemed more like a manager's job than something creative. But I'm pretty stubborn. I persevered. I pushed through. I saw a random internship application on the wall of the library, and I applied without thinking much of it.
Right on.
Um, yeah, I actually got the internship to my amazement. And after it was over, my boss offered me a position as a junior architect, and I accepted. I was still at this point not sure where I was going with all of this, but after like I saw the my first building slowly take shape, like my motivation sort of came back. Um, After all, it's a nice experience to see the like real physical fruit of your labor. Um, I don't regret taking this path. I don't regret having this job.
So
I
you've
don't.
been doing this for quite a while, so I have absolutely
Yeah.
no doubt that you don't regret. Although, in all fairness, to be an architect, you really need to have a little bit of talent. Like, and I don't want to sound rude, but not like being an accountant. You don't really need that much of a talent over there. But it's not like that in your world. It's not like to be a painter and not knowing how to paint. So
Yeah.
was that like? Did you knew that this was always in, or was it triggered at some point? What was the case here?
I thought I had the talent. I thought the talent was everything I needed to have. And then at first, I encountered a brick wall when I actually understood that you have to put an actual effort. And after a while, you start to learn things in a new way, and you start to appreciate the talent for creation. Most of it, it's a motivation to create. I think that's the thing that is most important. Like you need to have this spark in you that drives you forward and makes you long for something creational. And
How did you found out about that spark? I totally agree with you when you mentioned that the universities weren't really aiming you at something specific. So how were you able to find? Were you like mentored by somebody? Did you? How did that happen?
not really. Like I as a kid played a lot of computer games, like many
I
kids do
know.
that nowadays. Yeah. And at some point, I asked myself a question like, how do people do that? I started doing 3D animation. Like I really got into 3D animation, 3D modeling, rendering, and at some point, I realized that it was bringing me a lot of joy. And I put a lot of effort. Like I set the school aside, and I put all of my effort into creating 3D models. And then, I thought to myself, actually doing architecture is a great way to utilize this knowledge, because that's pretty much exactly what you do most of the time, like
Right on.
visualization. Yeah.
Have you been in that situation when you had to be a little bit encouraged or discouraged by your parents or close ones or something like that?
Discouraged, yeah, most of the time, not intentionally. probably.
No, not intentionally, of course not.
But I was misunderstood. Like nobody understood what I was doing with the 3D models. Nobody understood like animation and stuff. So everybody was like, "Hey, get yourself a nice real job that gets real money." So that was probably some of the that was probably the push that got me in the direction of architecture, because it's a real profession. Like, of course, that this is a probably a very conservative way of thinking about it, but like your parents expect you to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect. So
I'm the only person from my family who's not a doctor, so I get how you feel.
yeah.
It's interesting because there's so many examples, and they're worldwide. You can see them in Asia, in the United States, here in Europe. That again, not intentionally, but parents really try to channel the children. And actually, at that point, they're grown adults; they're not even children, but young adults. Sorry.
Yeah.
And they go to universities and to colleges without actually knowing why they're there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is rather odd, because later on you start a profession where you're absolutely not satisfied in any way, and it's a little bit like living hell.
Yeah.
And this is why, because I've noticed in your career, you didn't went from one thing to another. It's, as far as I remember, of course, you've been an architect ever since you
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
university.
Yeah.
So that kind of realization, what really pushed you to it? You mentioned the 3D modeling and stuff like that, but again, for example, you went to another country. Did you had like a plan in your head? Was it visualized?
No, not really. Not when I was 19. Like, I wanted an adventure. I chose a different country, and everything was new to me. And I thought to myself, maybe if I didn't like it right away, like I didn't think that I was supposed to like everything right away. So that's why I persevered and I pushed forward. And at some point, I learned enough and I created enough so that actually started to like it. But no, I don't think that people like. I don't think when you're 19, that you really have a. I don't think a person who's 19 has a really clear picture of what they're doing with their life, and
Yep.
it's a very normal normal thing to seek something else and to try different things, because like coming from a family in Europe where if you try, if you say, well, I'm not satisfied with this university, and your parents who are probably paying for it say, well, well, just push through,
Yep.
you're not supposed to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like work and studying is not supposed to be fun, which is totally not the right way, not the right approach to it. So like, just do the thing that you like, and you'll probably succeed. Yeah.
Can argue here. I even remember back in the day. I was still a student. Well, I don't like the teacher, and you know how fathers are. Well, don't marry her.
Yeah.
Just make sure your grades are
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So that's the basic logic. You kind of have to appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we were brought up, and I can understand why that was so. But in university, I met people that have already switched like three or four different things, three or four different bachelors, and they finally found what they were looking for in architecture. But like it's not like you cannot always expect that the first thing that you choose you're gonna like. So yeah.
Well,
I persevered, and at some point I started to like it, because I started to, I guess, use my abilities, and I channeled the things that I like into this profession. Like I forced it in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, technically, but you knew yourself, you knew what you wanted, and this is why you did it. I'm pretty sure that the people who changed three or four things in the universities weren't exactly on that level of awareness.
Probably,
And
yeah,
basically, that's why that's the whole concept of this
yeah,
podcast. And
yeah.
how did you knew that this was the way to go, in a matter of how did you knew to which company you will feel comfortable at? Were you looking at something specific in the people? Were you looking at something specific in the field, location, or something like? Which was it?
Um, I was looking for a small firm. Like I didn't want to be a part of a big architectural firm where you're just assigned one duty and sent along a prescribed path that
That's a
forces you to
pretty
do this.
interesting alternative method.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like in a big architectural firm, you're most of the time you end up in a team that's doing a very specific task, and you do only that, and you probably get really good at doing that, but you're going to do just that one thing. And if you work at a small architectural firm, like when I did my internship, I was the only intern and pretty much the only worker except my boss. So like we were sitting like just the two of us in the office. And I was practically doing everything. Like I was doing everything he did. So it was a great opportunity to learn a lot of things. And it was my main motivation to seek smaller firm or a startup, if you will, where you get to do more things that you would actually do in a big firm. Of course, payment and growing opportunities and the corporal ladder are not the same, but in a way, the more human connection to the people that you work with every day, because it's like five of you in the whole firm. It's more appealing to me than working in a big firm.
That's a pretty interesting alternative. I interviewed a guy a few weeks ago. He mentioned a very similar thing, and basically the corporate world can be a little bit alienating.
Yeah.
I do love it though. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's
I
pretty.
mean,
And you
it
were basically very mentored over there when you were just you and your boss. He actually shared a
I
lot of
was
things
I
with you.
was extremely mentored. Like every couple of minutes, I would ask something, and he would sit by me and show me how it's done, which is like a really nice way to learn things, like right from your boss. Because like then you know exactly how he wants things done, and like he doesn't have to explain it to you. And after that, you kind of become the most appreciated thing in the firm because your knowledge not only in your profession but in your personal connection to your boss contributes to the fact that like he doesn't want to lose you because you know how specifically to communicate to him. And that's I think pretty important to people in manager positions.
That also develops pretty good social skills. I've noticed that people lately lack social skills, which is
Yeah.
always a bad thing. And I assume you remain in the small business department.
Yeah, and it actually grew over time. So like right now we're about 7 people. Yeah, 7 people and one intern. And we are working together with a big Danish firm, like a big Danish architectural firm that build a lot of schools. So they have like the team that works on our project, our combined project. Like they have like 14 people over there, and our whole firm is like 7, so we have 2 people working on this project. So yeah, you get the different scales of work assignment. Yeah.
Right on. That's pretty interesting. You can really see the contrast between you and other examples. To know yourself, to just
Yeah.
be aware of what you want, and to seek out something very specific is something very certain. That's really interesting.
Yeah, with me it was not really that I knew what I wanted, but I knew what I liked, and
You
this
had a
was
gut feeling. Yeah.
yeah, I had a good feeling. I knew what was making me happy, and I followed that feeling, and it got me where I am today. Yeah.
Right on. Pretty good. Michael, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Right on.
See you
Have a good
again.
one. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Gap, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.